Interviewer, well, we're excited about you joining the MCU. So, I have to ask, how would you describe the experience of stepping into the role of the Silver Surfer for the new Fantastic Four? Guest, I can't really talk much about it, but the Fantastic Four are, well, fantastic. They're phenomenal in this film, and I'm so excited for people to see them. Also, they're some of the kindest people I've ever worked with. They're wonderful, a fun cast, and an amazing director. I feel very lucky to have even a tiny small part in this. Character dialogue. Hello, we were attacked by some kind of animal, and I think my husband was infected by it. What's wrong with Daddy? Interviewer. I just said I don't do scary movies, but I had to for this job, and I'm so glad because this movie was amazing. Guest. Oh, thank you so much. Interviewer. The performances were fantastic. I want to get to that in a moment, but first, reuniting with Chris. He mentioned you got your first professional acting gig together in Martha Marcy May Marlene. What was it like reuniting, and how was it different this time around? Guest. It was very different. The roles were bigger, and what I learned on Martha was just how to be on a movie set. At that point, I'd only been acting for 5 months. But yeah, I was really excited to sign on to this production, knowing Chris was involved. He's a fantastic actor, and he's so great in this film. It was a really nice reunion. Character dialogue. What's wrong with Daddy? He got sick. Please, Daddy, you're scaring me. Blake, stop. Interviewer. There's definitely some classic chills and thrills in this. How would you say this version of Wolfman amps up the scare factor compared to past iterations? Guest. It feels really real. The Wolfman looks familiar because you can still see elements of Chris in the character, even as he's transforming. That makes it scarier. It's unsettling when someone you know suddenly turns on you. Character dialogue. What is happening to me? Guest. I actually think this version is more terrifying than previous ones. The transformation is a slow evolution. You see it happen piece by piece. By the time he fully becomes the Wolfman, you can still recognize parts of him. That adds an emotional punch. Interviewer. It was so grounded in reality, like you mentioned. Were those nuances already in the script, or was it something you developed with Lee, your director? Guest. It was a mix of both. Early on, Lee said he wanted the Wolfman to feel like a disease or illness. I started doing prep work around the stages of grief because the story happens in one night. It's like going through the 7 stages of grief in a few hours. The physical transformation aligns with the emotional journey. Character dialogue. Can you understand me? You're scaring me? Interviewer. Was that something that excited you as an actor? Being able to dive into a role like that? Guest. Yeah, it was scary and challenging, but also really exciting. This movie feels so different from anything I've done before. Interviewer. How so? Guest. There was a lot of action, running, physicality, stunts. Plus, it was a monster movie, and I've never done one of those before. Interviewer. Well, you should do more. You were incredible in this. Character dialogue. Daddy, is that you? Interviewer. This might be a nerdy horror question, but what goes into nailing the perfect movie scream? I was watching you and wondering, how do you space them out to avoid losing your voice? Guest. Lots of tea and honey. Honey is key. Interviewer. Do you warm up like a singer? Guest. Yeah, a little. I do that anyway because I don't want my voice to sound like I just woke up. Interviewer. Right, I get that. Guest. Also, it depends on the type of scream. There are different kinds, just like there are different kinds of cries. Interviewer. So true. Don't we all know that? Interviewer. We've had Nosferatu, vampires, the Invisible Man, and now the Wolfman. What is it about these classic monsters that keeps audiences coming back? Guest. They're traditional stories with so much history behind them. People love to revisit and retell them in new ways. Plus, monsters are unpredictable. That unpredictability keeps viewers on the edge of their seats. Interviewer. Absolutely.